Tune in to the Diva Hustle Show.
Hey, you guys, thanks for tuning in to the Diva Hustle Show. Today, our guest is Dr. Ali. She's the CEO and founder of Compassionate Man. Thank you, Dr. Ali, for joining us.
No problem. It's really happy to be here, Paris.
Yes, love it. So, can you start by sharing what was the inspiration behind starting Compassionate Man and what motivated you to start this initiative?
So, Compassionate Math came sort of out of the pandemic. I was a professor at a university teaching mathematics, and I kind of had a crisis of faith with academia
Okay.
and the institution that I was in. And so, what I decided to do was I took a leave of absence so I could kind of think about what I wanted to work on. But in the meantime, I wanted to keep my feet in the fire and I wanted to just continue working and serving. And a friend suggested that I do professional development, that I go and support teachers. So this was the first semester after the pandemic where teachers were coming back. Everybody was burnt out. Everybody was scared. Nothing, we had a year of learning from a computer that was a disaster.
Mhm,
That not
mhm.
many people are willing to say was a disaster in education.
Yes.
And she said, "Go help teachers. You're going to be amazing." And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't. But I got into a school and I went in and I walked away thinking that I've found my true purpose in life is to help reimagine what math learning is.
Okay.
And for me, it's understanding a couple of ideas that learning math is both emotional and cognitive. It's not just about your brain, it's also about your emotions.
Okay.
And a lot of people in the math world don't feel that way.
Mhm.
And the other idea is that human beings are mathematical beings.
Okay.
We are all capable of doing mathematics. It's critical to our survival in the world that we live in.
Mhm.
It's critical for us to be able to move forward and do well, but we're taught by so many people that we are not capable of
Mhm.
doing math. And we are very specific groups of people.
Okay.
And that's just not true.
Do you feel like a lot of the fear come from the intimidation of math, especially like with kids?
Mhm.
When I don't know if it's something like I don't know what the fear come from, but like maybe it might be family or just something in school, and they might get the wrong answer, and then from there it's like a downward slope.
Yeah, absolutely. So, interestingly enough, there are a number of teachers who suffer from what's called math anxiety. Um,
Okay.
and and there's lots of research as to why, and I have my own reasons that I believe as to why this is. So this is not to put blame on the teachers, right? But what happens is that a teacher who has math anxiety,
Hmm.
a student, especially the girls in the class, pick up on this, right?
Mm.
There's been research to show that this actually passes from teacher to student. So, Cyan Beilock, who I think is currently the president of Dartmouth,
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I believe she's currently the president of Dartmouth. Did some of this research, did a lot of research on this, that math anxiety is almost like you could call it hereditary. It passes from teachers to students.
Wow.
And the same thing occurs in the household.
Mhm.
A mom or a dad who has anxiety could pass along those anxieties, so the kid picks it up. On top of that, then there's also this fear of performance, right? In
Mhm.
school, you're not counted as smart unless you're good at math. So
Right.
if you don't get that, if you don't do well on that test, then you're not smart. Well, what does that mean about who you are?
Mhm.
And so then you start to internalize those identities.
Mhm.
There's so much pressure to do well in math. And then on top of that, oftentimes math in a lot of schools is taught as rote and drill. So get the answer, do the work, do a worksheet with 50 problems and don't ask why. No
Mm-hmm.
one cares about why, but why is how we understand things as humans. Why is how we relate to ideas. Why is how we can put the pieces together. So if
Mhm.
you're told, don't worry about why, just do this, just subtract this and add this, and y equals mx plus b, and the quadratic formula, all that stuff gets jumbled up because it doesn't have purpose.
Right.
Things
And
don't have purpose, it gets much more difficult, and the stakes are high.
right. I remember a friend of mine's, and he was trying to get into college, and he had to take a math prereq class, I guess, or a test to get into college. And I
Uh-huh.
was over there and I was helping him, and I come from like math is my background. And so once I was able to show him the why, he was like, well, why they didn't show me this in high
Why didn't anyone tell me this before?
school?
Right?
So
And
yes.
yeah, and people get mad.
Yeah.
I was once teaching a class where it was a developmental algebra class, which is like college level, but it wasn't college level
Hmm.
class, right? It was a pre-algebra algebra class. And I was talking about an idea. I said, if you look at what we're talking about, we're just talking about fractions.
Okay.
So just think of this as a fraction. So the same rules that you apply to fractions, you would apply here, because look, it's written like a fraction. And one of my students got super angry. Like,
Wow.
like she got like decisively mad. She threw her pen down. I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
Right.
And she looked at me, she goes, are we doing fractions? Like, yeah. She goes, this is fractions? Yeah, honey. Yeah. Are you, whoa. I didn't know where this was going. And she goes, if I knew we were talking about fractions, I would have passed this class last semester and saved myself $400.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The connections and the ideas often aren't talked about a lot of times.
It's really not. And how do you see compassionate math? What approach in math teaching mathematics that you feel will be able to change the traditional methods?
So there are a lot of ways to push for conceptual understanding. So understanding the concepts behind math.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of really great work happening out there. So with compassionate math, I try to advocate for it. I teach a lot of methods in this when I do professional development with teachers or when I work with faculty.
Hmm.
One thing that I am really pushing is balancing the emotional and the cognitive. So
Okay.
talking about things like imposter syndrome in the math class or math identity, whether or not you are or aren't a math person,
Hmm.
you are. It's whether or not you believe it, but also whether or not people treat you like you are.
Okay.
Right. It's talking about math anxiety. It's bringing in these ideas and teaching people that it's okay
Hmm.
that you had the experiences that you had because it has nothing to do with how smart you are.
Right.
It has to do with a lot of factors that are out of your control. What
Yeah.
school district you went to,
Hmm.
right? What teacher you had, how much funding you had, how much time your parents were able to spend with you um,
Hmm.
on these ideas, how much like group work you're able to do. Like, are you able to talk about math and articulate your things? Or are you just supposed to sit down, shut up, finish the worksheet, and raise your hand,
Right.
right? And
Right.
only raise your hand to give a right answer and not to raise a hand to ask her, right? So I try to support more inquiry based, which is idea driven, question based teaching. And I also try to work with parents.
Okay.
So helping parents develop a strong math sense in their household in ways that are super, super fun.
Yeah.
So, like, I have a 4-year-old.
Okay.
I'm sorry, he's 4.5, right?
Yeah, get it right. And he gonna
I
tell you.
gotta get it right. I have a 4.5-year-old, and this isn't like, I'm not gonna be all like, I'm a math professor, so my
Yeah.
kid knows math, right? But he's doing well.
Okay.
Why? Because we play games like snakes and ladders. So he can count to 100 now. right? Going into kindergarten, the expectation is you can count to 10.
Right.
Like,
Right.
he's getting up to 100. Why? Because we're playing snakes and ladders. And
Mhm.
when we're playing games where he sees the numbers and we talk about the numbers, and small activities like that. We don't talk about being afraid of doing things
Right.
or not wanting to do things. We in our house, we talk about things are hard, but you can do them.
Right. Right.
Hard just means it takes more effort. Hard
Yeah.
just means it takes more work. Hard just means you have to try new things, right? And so this is kind of the work that I'm really doing, is trying to reshape the mindset around learning math and what's important.
And you touched on something because, like you said, during the pandemic, and I just learned a new term too, math anxiety. You could pass it on. So when you had the kids that are home and the kids need help with their math homework, the adult instantly is like, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I've been out of school X amount of years."
Yep.
And yeah, it kind of makes sense why, not that's why, but also the kids learning from computers, but a
Yep.
percentage of it why, they wasn't able to grasp the math that was being taught because the parents wasn't averse on the math that the kids are currently learning.
Right. Exactly. And so this is I call it the cycle of benign neglect. Like,
Mhm.
we've changed curricula in the US, oh,
Yes.
like, so often that me as a parent, I don't understand when my kid hands me a worksheet. I
Mhm.
don't understand what's happening there. And I look at it and I go, "Oh my God, this is alien to me." First of all, I didn't do well in algebra to begin with, right? Like, I hated my math class. I didn't do well. I barely got by. I forgot it. And
Right.
now I have a kid, and the
Mhm.
kid is bringing me stuff that doesn't even look like the stuff that I didn't even understand to begin with.
Right. Right.
And now I have to help my kid. Are
Right.
you kidding me? That's insane.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so what am I going to do? I'm going to blurt out something and be like, "Oh my God, I hate this. Oh my
Mhm.
God, this is impossible." And that's going to come out. And that's what your child internalizes. And so
Right.
the cycle continues.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And that certainly happened during the pandemic. Right. So there are lots of moms who are like, I'm great. I love being a mom. I am dreading the day the kid comes home with algebra homework and says, "Mom, can you help me?"
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because even like with the kids now, I have a friend, she's a teacher, and I'm like, "What's this Eureka math?" So now they're on this Eureka math, right? And she was like, "Girl, I don't even know what it is." She says she stays up at night and have to watch the videos. So it's like, well, how can you teach a class if you don't even know what it is? Or able to, like you said, explain the why. How do
Right.
we get these answers? Why are we getting these answers? So yeah.
So more modern education is teaching kids a lot more of the why.
Okay.
Challenge is that we never grew up knowing the why.
Okay.
And so then there's the disconnect. And so now your friend is having to sit there and figure out and deconstruct a lot of the whys. So I'm trying to go back and help these teachers
Right.
in a space where I'm trying to make teachers feel comfortable, or parents feel comfortable saying, "I don't know this, help me."
Mhm,
Right?
mhm.
I mean, imagine a teacher being able to say, "I don't know the subject I'm even teaching."
Right, yeah,
Right? Or a parent saying, "I have to look like I know what I'm doing, and I can't, and I don't know where to turn to."
right,
So
right.
so that's kind of the work that I'm trying to do. So the more modern math ed with Common Core, the Common Core standards, which, yes, technically isn't there, but it all came out of the Common Core, really balances asking the why with
Okay,
doing the drills. And
okay.
there's a much more of a balance, more of an idea. There's a lot of criticism to these curricula. There's a lot of criticism towards what Common Core is teaching and how it teaches and how all of these different units teach and whatever. But it still comes down to these fundamental ideas, that these big framing issues,
Mhm,
that we are so uncomfortable with mathematics, and
mhm,
we're not taking the steps to say we are. And we're having a hard time as a society taking a breath
Yeah.
and taking a step back and saying, okay, then let's talk about what we need. So again, trying to do that in the work that I'm doing. I'm actually currently writing a book,
Okay.
Compassionate Math, which is kind of aimed at the adult learner who goes, I don't think I ever really got this stuff to begin with, and giving them kind of a refresher from a big why perspective.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. And what advice would you give or do you have for educators or organizations looking to make a positive impact in math education and foster a compassionate learning environment?
Um, well, one, I mean, www.compassionatemath.com.
I love
Right.
it.
So there's compassionatemath.com, where I'm happy to come and help and support teachers, parents, and educators in general. But I think in general, we need to approach teaching from a loving, dare I say, compassionate space
Right.
where you are allowed to make mistakes, where you are allowed to explore freely and play,
Mm-hmm.
um, and where you are allowed the luxury of wonder.
Mm-hmm.
I think tests and standardized tests, and you need math for STEM.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We need math to be good in business, and we need math for, right? What
Mm-hmm.
about we need math because we like playing games and puzzles in our heads,
Right.
right?
Right.
What about finding the nice, fun joy in mathematics? Well, no, that's not going to get you into Stanford. I'm like, nah, that's probably not true, because the kids who got into Stanford probably played a lot of math games.
Right. It's true. And the other part about like with math, you find that people that are visuals or artistic, they learn math different versus someone where like maybe me where I'm more of an analytical person and grasp math are different. So I
Mm.
feel like in this classroom, like you're saying, if it's not, they try to drill it into the kids, but they don't understand that everybody has their own individual way of learning math.
But how fun is it that almost every topic in mathematics can be seen visually
Yeah.
or analytically, or like a word problem, or like right? Like it's
Yeah.
the same idea, the same thing seen all these different ways,
Right. Right.
right? How neat is that?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love math, so it comes easy, but I just hear the stories of parents who be like,
Mhm.
their kids is just shutting down because they're not getting the grades in math. And then you'll find that this person that he can work a computer and he can do all these apps and all this kind of stuff. So you're like, hold on, wait a minute. If he can do that, then that means somewhere there's a miscommunication somewhere.
Totally, totally. You know, I actually someone once reached out to me last fall,
Hmm.
and this was a woman in her 40s. And she said, Geillan, she has a PhD. Um, she's an anthropologist.
Hmm.
She works for a big financial services firm. So I think it was like insurance, or I didn't, I knew why I didn't, like, I wanted to respect her privacy. So I
Right.
didn't, but she worked for a big financial services firm, and she worked in a department that did a lot of statistics.
Wow.
And she was petrified of math. And she told me stories about how her her family made fun of her because they were all like doctors and engineers. And
Wow.
she just was so anxious and so nervous about the work that she couldn't, when the statisticians started talking, she knew what questions she would want to ask, but she couldn't get the words out. And she was like, I want to reclaim myself,
Right.
that part of me.
Hmm.
She wanted to reclaim her mathematical self. This was almost like her own kind of midlife crisis, that it just hit her. She was done.
Hmm.
She heard about my work. We got in contact. I think we met for like 4 or 5 sessions. And then she fired me right away. Why? Because it did not take her long to understand that just being in a space where she was comfortable enough to ask the questions that she'd always wanted to ask and
Wow.
see the work play out. She goes, wow, it's in me and it's always been in me. And I
Wow.
have it and I'm totally capable of doing it. Now she started taking more initiative in her job. She started being able to respond to the statisticians and being able to push back on their methods or ask about how they broke out their samples in different ways.
Mhm.
And she felt more comfortable doing it because she just felt more confidence in her skills. And
Wow.
so, and this is happening with everybody that I'm working with. I was just super, I was never happier. She felt, like there was a conversation we were having where she just got really nervous and started, I was like, are you firing me? I think I'm getting fired. And she goes, but I was like, I think I'm getting fired because I did a good job.
Right, that's a different one.
And that's it. And I got fired and I was so happy
Wow.
to lose my job
Wow, that's
because once someone feels the power
Mhm.
within them, it changes everything. And this is a professional.
Wow. That's good. I mean,
Yeah.
that's an excellent story because like you said, it don't matter what age you are, you know what I mean? And just being comfortable and to ask the questions and somebody to really take the time to explain it, it just makes you feel better.
Yeah. And we probably spent the first 2 hours that we were doing talking just about her experiences learning math, where she was like, is this therapy or tutoring? And I said, why can't it be both? And as we like untangled all of the experiences that she had, and I said, oh, that sounded like imposter syndrome. Oh, that sounded a little bit like identity. Oh, that sounds a little bit like something else. So just having the words to know that what you experience, putting words to your experiences makes you know that it's real,
Right.
right?
Right.
And then it allows you to move forward from those experiences. So she was blown away. She was so excited with what happened, and it fully transformed her. Again, late stage, successful, deep in a career, but got on the phone and whispered, I'm not good at math. Can you help me?
Wow. And I kudos to her because she took the initiative to ask for help too. So 'cause she could have just
Mhm.
kept doing the imposter syndrome and keep faking and going along, but she
Yep.
took the initiative. So good luck. I mean, that's good for her.
Yeah, God bless her, man. She was my hero. I,
Oh.
I I told everybody, I was like, I got a woman who basically her midlife crisis is I want to learn math.
I love that. So in your opinion, Dr. Ali, what is the most rewarding aspect of being a CEO? And how do you align it with your personal values and mission?
Ooh, I love this question. Um, I get to decide how to control my destiny,
Okay.
right? So I have, it's my vision for compassionate math. It is the work that I want to do. I choose, so I don't have to play your reindeer games,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't have to kowtow to white supremacy or late stage capitalism or the patriarchy if I don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's the one thing, the one wonderful thing about being a CEO.
Right.
Right. So,
And
and I'm sorry, there was another part to your
and you
question.
said, I said, how does it align with your personal values and your mission?
Oh, and my mission, I mean, I think I'm pushing the conversation about math ed in directions that I'm not, I'm supported by, but I'm not fully aligned with the math education community. I think that we need a little bit more of a holistic push. So taking half a step out of academia and away from research and publishing, even though I'm still writing and I'm still active and I'm still publishing, I'm still working with colleagues on research. Just being able to take that step away, then it allows me to push the envelope for myself a little bit more.
Right. And if people wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way? If they want to inquire about services, signing up, what's the best way to get in contact?
So you can find me on LinkedIn. So Compassionate Math is on LinkedIn. You can also find me Geillan Aly, Geillan, Aly, Aly. Or you can just drop by compassionatemath.com or drop me an email at compassionatemath@gmail.com. And I'm a little bit on TikTok, but not they're up there. But what the website, the email, and the LinkedIn are, I'm much more active in those spaces.
All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Aly, for stopping past and sharing your story. I support you and your journey, and also fighting for our kids for the future, and changing the way they see math. So anytime you want to stop back past to talk about math, kids, you're almost more than welcome.
Thank you so much, Paris. I had a wonderful time chatting with you.
No problem.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tune in to the Diva Hot Show. Motivate the club. We give you more info. Think to my head to toe. I let the whole world know. I let the whole world know.